Good afternoon. It is my pleasure to welcome all of you to the transition ceremony for the graduating class of fall 2022. This ceremonial rite of passage signifies that 7th trimester students have demonstrated the knowledge and skills required to advance to the next stage of their clinical education. In addition, we will recognize members of the class for their special achievements in academic and clinical excellence, as well as their service to the college. I would like to welcome the families and friends who joined us in person today to be part of this important event. The ceremony is also broadcasted live to allow as many people as possible to celebrate the accomplishments of our students. I now invite all faculty present to please stand and be recognized for your dedication and commitment to academic excellence, leadership, and professional best practices. Thank you. This ceremony was planned in accordance with safety guidelines. We ask the audience to maintain a safe distance from their neighbors, and we remind everyone that masks are required. All participants should refrain from physical greetings such as handshakes during the ceremony. It is now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Mary Padgett, professor in the Department of Foundational Sciences, who will present the Distinguished Service in Foundational Sciences Award. Dr. Padgett.
The Distinguished Service in Foundational Sciences Award is presented to a member of the current 7th Tri class who has demonstrated an astute interest in the foundational sciences curriculum, as evidenced by grade point average, service through tutoring, and serving as a teaching assistant, above and beyond conventional expectation. It is my honor to award this recipient of the Distinguished Service in Foundational Sciences Award to Jolene Marfone. My best tutor. All right, it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Chad Warshall, Director of the Master of Science in Diagnostic Imaging program and a professor in the Department of Clinical Sciences, who will present the Diagnostic Imaging Award.
The radiology curriculum at Northeast College is extensive and extremely demanding. This award recognizes a 7th trimester student who has demonstrated excellence and distinction in the diagnostic imaging portion of the curriculum. The recipient of the Diagnostic Imaging Award is Chelsea Schultes. It is my pleasure to introduce Dr. David Petters, Associate Professor in the Department of Integrated Chiropractic Therapies, who will present the Frank P. DiGiacomo Technique Award.
The Chiropractic Technique Award is especially meaningful because to many, technique represents the distinguishing difference between our profession and all others. The Dr. Frank P. DiGiacomo Technique Award is presented to a 7th trimester student who has demonstrated competency and mastery of the subject material, and by virtue of their ability, received endorsement by the Integrated Chiropractic Therapies faculty and others appropriate to the evaluation. The recipient of the Dr. Frank P. DiGiacomo Technique Award is Chan-Ho Han. It is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Larissa Martin, instructor in the Department of Integrated Chiropractic Therapies, who will present the Distinguished Accomplishment in Diagnosis Award.
The Distinguished Accomplishment in Diagnosis Award is presented to a member of the 7th trimester class who has demonstrated excellence in the area of diagnostic sciences. Candidates for this award must meet a course grade requirement and have served as a tutor and/or teaching assistant. The individual's dedication, service, and performance must be above and beyond conventional expectations. The recipient of this award, by virtue of their ability, has received endorsement by the diagnosis faculty. The recipient of the Distinguished Accomplishment in Diagnosis Award is Savannah Rogich. It is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Scott Voorhees, instructor in the Department of Integrated Chiropractic Therapies, who will present the Lloyd E. Henby Distinguished Service Award.
Okay, so I know most of you sitting out there, if not all of you, have no idea who Dr. Henby is, aside from some of us mentioning him from time to time. But I'm going to date myself by saying that he was actually one of my instructors here when I was in school. And this is not specifically a technique award I'm about to present, but Dr. Henby was a crazy, phenomenal adjuster. But he was also very passionate, and he was extremely passionate about the philosophy of chiropractic. And he had all these great stories to tell about the healing power of the chiropractic adjustment. So, with that being said, and to honor the memory of Dr. Lloyd E. Henby, the Lloyd E. Henby Distinguished Service Award is presented to a student whose selfless dedication to the art of chiropractic technique and the philosophy of chiropractic most intimately exemplifies those qualities embodied by Dr. Henby. So the recipient of the Lloyd E. Henby Distinguished Service Award is Rhiannon Kearns. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Nick Poirier, the Assistant Vice President of Academic Affairs, who will present the Academic Achievement Award.
The Academic Achievement on National Boards is presented to the Doctor of Chiropractic student who has demonstrated outstanding performance on Part 1 and/or Part 2 of National Board examinations by achieving an overall average of 600 or greater on all sections of Part 1 and/or Part 2 exams, with no single section score below 450. The Academic Achievement Award recipients are Matthew Frankel for Parts 1 and 2. You could please come to the front. Madeline Lamoureux Recor for Part 2. Eric Lawrence for Part 1. Samantha Leal for Part 1. Ryan Lessick for Parts 1 and 2. Joshua Pershpalai for Part 1. Alexis Piruli for Part 1. Devin Piroli for Part 1. And Alexander Spinocchia for Part 1. It is now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Michael Meston, President of Northeast College of Health Sciences, to present the Distinguished Service Awards, the Kenneth W. Padgett Scholarship, and their Standard Process Scholarship. Dr. Meston?
Hello, thank you. In recognition of their outstanding dedication and service to the entire Northeast College community during their 7 trimesters, I'm pleased to present Distinguished Service Awards to Jasmine Kobina, Catherine Kennedy, Maria Lugo Perez, and Savannah Rogich. Please come forward. Well done. The Kenneth W. Padgett Scholarship is given in honor of Northeast's current chancellor and past president of the institution, Dr. Kenneth Padgett. He was president from 1989 to 2000. Among his many accomplishments, Dr. Padgett served as president of the American Chiropractic Association, president of the New York State Chiropractic Association, and still, at this time in his career, serves in the profession in many capacities, to include serving on the Association of Chiropractic History, and continues to be actively involved in the American Chiropractic Association. The Kenneth W. Padgett Scholarship is awarded to a 7th trimester student who earned a cumulative GPA of 3.0 or higher and was selected for the very best essay addressing the following. Upon graduation from the leading institution of chiropractic education, you'll be one of the best trained doctors of chiropractic. As in most professions, there are sometimes differences of opinion and views between chiropractic practitioners. Explain how you'll work with other doctors of chiropractic to unify and advance the chiropractic profession. The recipient of the Kenneth W. Padgett Scholarship is Jonathan Collars. Jonathan? Standard Process is the foremost supplier and producer of whole foods nutritional supplements and is recognized for its attention to quality. The company is also a significant supporter of chiropractic education, research, and a wonderful supporter of our college. In fact, this fitness center that we're in right now is named in their honor. The Standard Process Scholarship is awarded to a 7th trimester student who earned a cumulative GPA of 3.0 or higher and was selected for the best essay addressing the following. Standard Process believes that whole food nutrition is essential for maintaining health. We also believe that healthcare providers offer the best direction to guide patients in their nutritional needs. As you will soon be in practice, how will you plan to implement nutrition into your practice and change your patients' lives? The recipient of the Standard Process Scholarship is Aaron Vanoff.
It is now my pleasure to introduce the speaker for today's transition ceremony. Dr. Tyron Minsey is in private practice in Montclair, New Jersey, as a chiropractic physician and board-certified applied kinesiologist. He also holds the position of adjunct faculty member at Farley Dickinson University, where he lectures on motivational and health issues. He has also been invited to lecture at such prestigious corporations as Philips, Paul Hastings, Janowski and Walker, Lally McFarland Pantello, and the Montclair Board of Education. Dr. Minsey is a 1998 graduate of Northeast College of Health Sciences Doctor of Chiropractic program, graduating cum laude. He practices in a primary care holistic setting, one that emphasizes wellness and prevention of sickness and disease using several advanced forms of natural health care. The care encompasses management of people on a wellness basis, as well as those with chronic disease processes. He is one of the first African American to achieve diplomate status in applied kinesiology. Dr. Minsey has formulated, distributed, and trained others in the field of nutrition for over 20 years. He is a lecturer, philanthropist, and member of several professionally affiliated organizations. Dr. Minsey has also worked with local professional sports figures, entertainers, and provides services for local youth sports teams. He has received numerous awards for his service to communities in which he practices. Please help me welcome Dr. Tyron Minsey.
Hi.
Hi.
Just wanted to make sure you were awake. It's an awesome day. One of my favorite parts to coming up to the college, and has been over many years, is the beauty that I get to see during times of transition. In the last 2 weeks, I've been to North Carolina, Virginia, Oregon, and now here. This is the coldest place so far. But transitions are beautiful to see here because I realized when I was coming up that when something is transitioning, oftentimes the result of that transition is something greater than what was there before. So transitions are fodder for greatness. I want to say hello to the Board of Trustees of this institution, Mr. President, staff and faculty who I admire, students that might be here, and the students who are making their transition to the status of chiropractic clerk. Today is a day of transition. Tomorrow is the start of a transformation. A transformation from smaller to bigger, from the unknown to the known, and into something wonderful. I have the task to speak to you today about a most interesting topic, most exciting topic, ethics and professionalism. And before you all get really excited, I want to talk to you also about why this is such an important topic. Out of all the topics that you are going to cover in your career, this is one of the most important. Because without it, nations, countries, organizations, colleges, clubs, and individuals are short-lived. It's evident. We can just look at news headlines or history, from the fall of the Roman Empire to factions of gangs and mafia. A decision made by an individual or individuals could negatively or positively impact everyone they're connected to. So in order to really cover this well, I want to first talk about a common journey that we all have. Then I want to talk a little bit about you and you and you and you. And then I want to talk about the duties that you will have in your new eminent role as chiropractic clerk. So first, I got to cover just a few words. This whole ethics and professionalism, it's covered in tomes. Tomes and tomes and tomes. Sometimes it's quite confusing. So I want to make sure that we're all speaking the same language. So I'm going to talk about this word called duty. And duty, simply put, is that which one is bound to morally or obliged to do. For example, I said that I would give a speech today on ethics and professionalism, on my word. I'm duty bound to do so, or I have to answer to a few people. If I make a decision and I don't honor my word, then there's what we call an ethics concern, which brings me to another word. What's ethics? Well, ethics is that thing which you do or you don't do that promotes survival, that helps an organization survive or aligns with its morals. And ethics is a really personal thing. Well, why do I say that? Well, if you're a vegetarian, you have a different ethical outlook on food than a meat eater. So it's a personal thing in your personal life. And ethics is also a personal thing in your professional life. Some would argue, no, it absolutely is. If a person robbed a bank and they were a professional, I assure you that would impact their professional occupation. Finally, one other word I want to talk about is this idea of what a professional is. A professional demonstrates professionalism. Well, the best way I could describe this to you, really, is when I tried to fix my stove. See, we've got the internet, so I had it made. Went online, I looked up the part, it cost me $30.40. Pushed enter, it came in the mail. 7 days later, we still had no stove. That Saturday, I got my toolbox, and it took me 6 hours to take the stove apart to get the part out. In a fit of glory, after I put the whole thing back together, I went to turn it on, and it didn't work. So I went back online and looked up stove professionals. 1 day later, gentleman shows up, very nice, neat, professional outfit, tiny little bag. He walks in, takes out a screwdriver, pops out 2 screws, pops in the part, says, "Thank you very much." 15 minutes. He was a professional. Professionalism is having the tools, knowing that you have the tools, and demonstrating competency in the use of those tools in the rendering of your service and while doing so, following the moral code of the group to which you belong. That guy was a professional. Now, if you frame these words, duty, ethics, and professionalism, in the context of a journey, of change, of stages, look at the idea that the honoring or the completion of one duty is actually a very small thing in comparison to one's entire professional lifespan. Or one ethical act is actually a really small thing when you compare it to one's professional lifespan. Likewise, an act of professionalism, single one, is a very small thing when compared to the entire span of one's career. But we shouldn't underestimate that. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said it best. He said, "If I cannot do great things, then I can do small things in a great way." And that is the summation of the journey to competence and the arrival at professionalism. You see, ethics is the fuel you use to propel you along the way. Our common journey, we actually do have a common journey. And at this great institution, we all had to make a decision at one point in time about making our trek to become a DC. And when I began my trek, I didn't realize that I was going to have certain duties, nor did I realize that these duties were going to be manifold and cumulative. I just wanted to help people. But you and I, because I've sat in that chair before, we had to transition from being lay people to being professional students of the basic sciences, the preclinical sciences, a person who delved into the inner workings of the human body, who dissected cadavers. And at the same time, some of us had to confront this gargantuan task of going after our dream, confronting our fears, our vision. But by doing this, by entering this group, we were bound by its moral code. As a student and intern, you have duties to show up, to listen, to learn, to participate, to question, and to be part of and enforce the moral code of the group. Trimester after trimester, I remember, but it was voluntary. Just like you, we were bludgeoned by the hours, the demands, but we accumulated gems of knowledge about the structure and the functions and even some mysteries of the human body. And also the pathophysiology that often plagues it. And just when we mastered that initial transition from layperson to professional student of the preclinical sciences, it was time for a new transition. But before that transition, we questioned, what am I going to do with this new knowledge of the human body that I now possess? I mean, after all, we were no longer anatomy dilettantes. We are part of a fraternity of 1% to 2% in this country that understand the structure of the human body. As a matter of fact, now jokes about the body were funny. Kind of like, why is the nervous system considered reckless? Because it always does everything on an impulse. See?
That's a good one.
Yeah. It's a dad joke, too. So on we went to the clinical sciences. And then the college and the faculty, they gave us a new lens through which to view all that information we had learned initially. After all, we learned at that time how to examine, how to test, how to diagnose, orthopedic testing. That knowledge mounted and it was piled up on all the other knowledge we had. And then some of us thought, I have no clue what I'm doing. But some of us then realized something else, that we were not the same people that entered chiropractic college. After all, you could actually understand Gray's Anatomy and House. So let's talk about you a little bit. But before I get into you individually, I want to talk about my favorite vitamin. After all, you do realize that with this education comes a like for unusual things. So I have a favorite vitamin, and my favorite vitamin happens to be vitamin D. And why do I like vitamin D? Because vitamin D is a vitamin of transition. You all know what I'm talking about, right? Well, 70% of all prostate, breast, and colon cancer could be prevented if people had adequate levels of vitamin D. But it's not necessarily the vitamin D that does it, it's the information that the vitamin D provides to a cell that the cell takes and uses to transform itself to something great, something that's resistant to cancer. And that's important. Transitions are fodder for greatness. Now, without adequate levels of vitamin D, you have much less immunity. We know that in the current pandemic. But with vitamin D, you have more impunity, more protection, more ability, and with these come certain responsibilities. You see, all the milestones that you have achieved, the knowledge you have, everything you have done adds up to now. And it's all worthless if you don't make sound decisions, which add up to professionalism. So you've made it this far. And transitions are fodder for clinical greatness. But you have to grasp this new opportunity as a chiropractic clerk like your life depended on it. Because it does. With all this knowledge you have of the clinical and preclinical sciences, you have also become much more deft, knowledgeable, but you haven't arrived just yet. You've accumulated some of the tools that you need to be a professional. But I have to tell you, looking back at when I was in your position, at this moment, I might consider you armed and dangerous. The reason why is because you have to get experience. And experience in the practical application of the knowledge you have acquired so far is a must. And this is what awaits. This is what awaits. It's time to transition. It's time to step up, to add some stripes. It's time to take your place among the ranks of those who have earned the title, chiropractic clerk. It's time to work toward clinical excellence. In the 4th century, Aristotle said something that echoes on in our society and successful people. We are what we repeatedly do. And that's the nature of clinical service. And in the 19th century, my football coach said to me, "You play the way you practice." Professionalism is the high-level ethical application of all of the duties and knowledge that you have accumulated in your educational journey. The actions or inactions that you take make you an incandescent banner for the Northeast College, those supervising you, yourself, and should you not falter, one day the chiropractic profession. After today's transition, the transformation will consist of doing small things in a great way, of gaining new vitamin D-like abilities with the knowledge and small transformations that you accumulated along the way. The next transition on your road to clinical greatness and the accomplishment of the goal that you set a short time ago is that of chiropractic clerk. It is your duty to do small things in a great way. It is your duty to apply what you have learned. It is your duty to honor this institution. It is your duty to protect and honor those who have supported you along the way. And it is your duty to strive for clinical excellence. I know that you will answer the call. Congratulations.
Wow. Thank you for that inspirational and motivational talk. And Dr. Minsey, welcome home. It's always a pleasure to have you here. I'm going to give you this certificate. Let's get a picture. We will now begin the Rite of Passage. Please remain seated until you are asked to stand and follow the ushers. As you proceed across the stage, please greet each faculty representative, symbolizing your successful matriculation through the foundational sciences, clinical sciences, integrated chiropractic therapies, principles of healthcare practice, and the campus health center. You will then be ceremoniously helped into your white coat, signifying the start of your clinical education. I now invite Dr. Mullen, Dr. Zampano, Dr. Warshall, Dr. Carnevale, Dr. Arar, Dr. Maneri, and Dr. Minsey to join me on the stage. At this point, the ushers may begin guiding the students to the stage. Dr. Mullen?
Austin James Strickland. Matthias Backus. Reese Shaughnessy. Fawad Majidi. Matthew Dana Frankel. Matt Barber. Varun Pravin Apana. Zachary C. McMaster. Cody Litz. Michael Albert Bunce. Aubrey Walden. Kelly Bagan. Victoria Cruciani. Catherine Kennedy. Jolene Elizabeth Marfone. Emily Cullen. Tori Uglialoro. Sarah Camille. Eric Lawrence. Sam Leo. Alexander Gregory Spinocchia. Robert Patrick Salinger. Okay. Travis Rode. Keith Robus. Avenue Gurgis. Blake Hoover. Alexis Ariel Piruli. Rhiannon Kearns. Jonathan Callers. Michael D'Onofrio. Anastasia Tolfa. Trevor Horan. Daniel William Walker. Isabella Victoria Sachi. Riley Zubrikis. Jenna Lauren White. Aaron Fonoff. Kevin LeBlanc. Adam William Greenberg. Michael Trujillo. Thomas Gerard Stepanski. Chelsea Schultes. Leanne Marie Tressler. Emily Victoria Dick. Rena Mistry. Savannah Rogich. Ryan Lessick. Marco Nicholas Rombolakis. Devin Joseph Pioli. Chan Ho Han. Jovan Stefan Budillo. Madeline Lamoureux Ricoeur. Olivia Holland. Maria de Lourdes Lugo Perez. Amrit Sangira. Amy Lee. Jasmine Kobina. Joshua Hirschpillai. Marcus Paul. Andrew Meisner. Please join me again in a round of applause for all of the Rites of Passage recipients today. It is my pleasure to invite Dr. Ann Killen, Executive Vice President of Academic Affairs, to the podium to present the meaning of the Northeast College of Health Sciences logo.
Thank you, Dr. Mullen. And congratulations to our students. You look fantastic in your white coats. The Northeast College of Health Sciences logo, which is on the cover of the transition ceremony program, was designed to be a modern reflection of the icons on our official college seal. Each of the symbols on the shield represents an important, time-honored fundamental of our college. The flame represents the illumination of all in its light, casting ignorance into the shadows. The quill pen, immersed in an inkwell, signifies learning and open discourse, both academic and interpersonal. The open book illustrates the rich foundation of wisdom upon which the college is built and the lifelong pursuit of new knowledge, to which the college's scholars are clearly devoted. It is now my pleasure to invite Dr. Wendy Maneri, Dean of Clinical Education, to the podium to administer the Chiropractic student oath.
So I'm going to ask all of you in the class to please stand, raise your right hand, and repeat after me. I do hereby affirm my dedication to the chiropractic profession as I continue with my clinical clerkship. I will strive to apply my knowledge and skills for the well-being of patients, engaging only in those practices which will bring honor upon myself in my profession. I will endeavor to work in a professional manner with my teachers and colleagues. I will never allow material advancement or prejudice in any form to interfere with the duty I owe my patients. I will respect the knowledge, skills, and experience of the doctors who allow me to learn under their licenses. I vow to practice chiropractic ethically and with dignity. In the presence of this gathering, I bind myself to this oath, making it solemnly, freely, and upon my honor. Congratulations to all of you.
You may be seated. This concludes today's transition ceremony. Congratulations to all of you for reaching this important milestone. On behalf of the faculty and staff, I wish you continued success in the next stage of your clinical education. To the family members and friends who joined us in person and remotely today, we would like to thank you for your continued support of these future doctors of chiropractic. After the ceremony, we ask the students to come to the stage and get your class photo taken before joining your families. In order to avoid crowding, we ask all the audience members to remain seated until the class picture is finished. We'll make the final photo available to all via our social media channels in the next few days. Please be well and have a wonderful rest of your day.